Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, we take a look back at some of our favorite stories from the 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Tampa, Florida.
And now, a special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Let's head back to Tampa, Florida to see highlights from the 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's no secret that all NCBA presidents have a passion for the beef industry, plus a strong desire to make it sustainable. This year's president is absolutely no exception, and he has some unique experiences he's bringing to the table. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has the story.
Nestled in the mountains of northwest Wyoming, you'll find George Farms, a family dairy operation that's been in business for nearly 70 years. It's the land Scott George has lived off of his whole life, and the same land his parents homesteaded back in 1947.
They started farming, and they were having trouble farming, making enough money to farm, and so the banker told them, "You've got to do something to make some more money." And so they bought some cows and started milking cows, and we've been milking cows ever since.
Today, Scott and his crew milk 550 cows twice a day, 365 days of the year. And if that isn't enough to keep them busy, George Farms also has a beef cattle operation.
Our beef herd we kind of stumbled into. One year we had some excess silage and we sold it to a man, and it turns out he didn't have money to pay for it. But he had some calves that he hadn't got sold, and we got those calves in payment. And we were kind of looking at expanding into the beef herd as well, because we really enjoy the cattle and we know how to run cattle. And so we've started building our herd since then, and we're running around 100 and some odd mother cows now, and we really enjoy them.
Every single person who works on the farm plays an integral role in the operation's success. And despite his busy schedule, Scott is committed to keeping the business family-centered.
We've been able to work with our whole family. I grew up working with my father farming and milking cows, and my mother milked cows for years. I've worked with my brothers. We've learned how to get along. Some people don't do that. I've also got to work with my children on the farm, and my brother's children, and my sister's children. I think nearly every one of my nephews and nieces have worked on the farm at one time or another in their lives.
Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
I'm really proud of our operation. Teamwork is absolutely the bedrock of our operation.
And that teamwork is going to be vital over the next year. As president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, Scott will be on the road for nearly 10 months in 2013, and he'll have to rely on his family to keep the operation running smoothly while he's gone.
Spending that much time on the road is going to be a real challenge. We do have a strong team, but every team member plays a part. And when one is out of the picture, the others have to shoulder the burden. I'm going to owe a big, big debt of gratitude to my brothers and these nephews and to our employees that are working, because they're shouldering my part of this load.
Scott's path to being an NCBA president is a bit different than past presidents. In 1991, he was asked to serve as a director for the Wyoming Beef Council. Little did he know it was a decision that would spark his passion for being a leader in the beef industry.
As I got more informed of what we were doing with the checkoff on both the state level and the national level, I got more interested in working at the national level as well. And eventually I was appointed to represent the Federation. And I worked on the Federation side, and through that involvement I got more involved and got to see what NCBA's policy arm was doing.
While some people might think it's strange to have a dairyman as an NCBA president, Scott says he has a lot of knowledge about the beef industry and is ready for the responsibility of leading the association.
We've had cow-calf operators, we've had stocker operators, we've had feeder operators. Now we have dairymen that are part of this organization. Our cattle all end up in the beef supply chain somewhere along the line. And it's becoming more and more important, the dairy cattle are, to the whole beef sector as our nation's beef cow herd is shrinking. As a dairyman, I feel like I kind of understand the whole cattle business. I mean, we work with the breeding of our dairy cows and beef cows both. We artificially inseminate. We understand birthing the calves. We understand raising the calves. We raise all of our own replacements. We raise all of our own replacement heifers, and we're also raising some bulls and selling bulls.
The issues facing the beef industry are a top priority for Scott. During his time as NCBA president, he's committed to making sure issues like the estate tax and government overregulation are at the forefront of discussions with lawmakers in Washington.
There are a lot of issues that are of interest. Absolutely the top one on my mind is the estate tax. We see farmers and ranchers that are asset rich and cash poor. They live poor their whole lives. They live by the skin of their teeth. I know what that's like because we're there. We're always there. And yet when it comes time that they pass away, their children would like to carry on that business, and estate tax can eat them up. Another issue that bothers me is overregulation by the Environmental Protection Agency. When you get people to get so overboard through either misconception or misinformation, or they just literally have a bent that they want the cattle off these lands, they're trying to regulate us out of business, and they're doing a pretty good job.
Scott knows the importance of helping the beef industry resolve these challenges, but he also knows how to keep a good sense of humor when things start to get too serious.
My favorite dairy joke, I guess, would have to be about the woman that stopped the milk delivery man, and she said, "I would like to have you leave enough milk so I can take a bath. It's supposed to be good for my skin complexion." And he said, "Do you want it pasteurized?" And she said, "No, just up to my navel."
During his term as NCBA president, Scott is dedicated to helping protect the farming and ranching way of life so future generations can have the chance to enjoy it as well.
I recognize that you're never going to appease everybody. Not everybody's going to be happy with every decision that's made in the world. And in the end, we have to look at the big picture. What's the best for the entire industry? What gives us the opportunity to stay in business, to be in business, and to prosper, to take care of our families, to take care of the lands and the cattle, and enjoy the lives that we enjoy living. I love working with the land and the cattle, and I want other people that want to have that opportunity to be able to do it.
Joining me in the studio is Scott George, 2013 NCBA president. Welcome, Scott.
Well, thank you for having me, Kevin.
Well, first of all, congratulations. And secondly, I understand you are the very first dairyman to be elected president of NCBA. Is that right?
That's correct.
So what kind of perspective do you think that's going to give you as you lead the National Cattlemen's Beef Association?
Well, first of all, I think it's really a credit to NCBA to recognize that we have such a diversity of cattle producers in the country. We have cow-calf operators, stocker operators, feeders, dairymen, and even veal operators, and we're all in the beef business. And so it speaks very highly to NCBA's diversity of the organization. As a dairyman, I've always had to do teamwork with my family. At home, I can't do it alone, and so I've had to rely on teamwork. Everybody kind of rises to the occasion in the various areas, and I see that same opportunity here with NCBA. We have great input from our membership. Yes. We have great staffers in Washington, D.C. working on that end. We have other great staffers that are working very well trying to promote beef, and it's a teamwork effort between the membership and all these staff people trying to move us forward. And so I think that's the greatest perspective I would have on this whole thing. That's
outstanding. Now, you're presiding over a time of tremendous opportunity and frankly some big challenges for our industry. What are some of the priorities in the year ahead?
Oh, our membership has set the priorities, obviously, but one of the biggest ones we have is we're trying to get the Farm Bill passed. because it holds the key to conservation programs like EQIP and also to disaster assistance programs. And we've seen the disasters this last year. That's one of our top priorities.
Sure.
There's another one called we want to reauthorize the Drug User Fee Authorization Act.
Sure.
And that helps bring new pharmaceuticals to the forefront, and we need those tools to be able to have in our hands. Third one we're real concerned about is EPA's move to try to control all waters in the country, and that is a real concern because that water is the lifeblood of everything we do. Our fourth one, we're concerned about border control and border security.
Okay.
There are federal lands along that border that Border Patrol is not allowed, or law enforcement are not allowed to use motorized vehicles on to patrol, and so we think that needs to be changed. And also we're very much concerned about a good worker program. There are a lot of people who would like to come to the States and work, but they have a short-term period, seasonal, and we need the ability to have them long-term, at least for a year, so that they can stay and work throughout the season. Also, our last priority is we want to continue to push exports. We'd love to see China open up for exports of beef. We'd like to get Russia to reopen. So those are some of our top priorities, but they're by no means all the issues we work on. So.
Sure. Well, you've got a full plate of activities, it sounds like.
Yeah, we really do.
One last question. What would you like cattlemen and cattlewomen to know about NCBA?
NCBA, I feel like, is a service organization, and our job is to try to help them be profitable. We work hard trying to help our consumers feel comfortable and good about eating the beef, the product we produce, and we work very hard to keep the regulations down on our producers and make sure that they can continue to operate. And so we're trying to serve every cattle producer in the country, irregardless of their segment and irregardless of their chosen area. We'd like to work for all of them, trying to help them be good, stay in business.
Scott, congratulations on your election and good luck in the year ahead.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Become a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association like Scott. Call us now at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org.
We are so very blessed to have a couple special guests with us on the program today. A couple of the newsmaker guests, if you will, at the recent Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show in Tampa Bay, Florida. Sean and Leanne Toohey, and probably best well known, at least here of late, from the movie Blindside. But before we talk about that, guys, let's talk about what your message was to this year's Beef Cattle Industry Convention.
Well, I think our message was that everyone has value and potential. I mean, we try to tell people that we all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. Your twist just may a little bit be different than mine, but we all have value. And, we tell people to turn around because the person behind you could just need a little hope and opportunity. And if you give them that, you could change their life.
Now, Sean, talk about some of the lessons learned that maybe Leanne just mentioned that we all can maybe learn from the movie that was portrayed for your guys' family in Blindside.
Well, the first lesson is don't let anybody make a movie after you, but we blew that one. The second one is what's consistent, is that we firmly believe that giving is sometimes it's not a natural thing that people do. And so what we try to tell them is that when you do give, that the value and the pleasure is actually your side. I mean, the person on the other end gets a nice pair of socks, but the person giving gets the good feel of it. And we try to tell them that, if it makes you feel good, we'll do it all the time. Don't just do it at Christmas time. So that's what we try to tell them. Say, look, and it can change your life, but more importantly, it can change someone else's life. And that's all that happened to us. I mean, it was one act of kindness that repays us every single day. Michael had a good week. We've had 11 great years, and so we really believe that we were the ones that got the most out of it. He had to put up with us. That's not real easy, but we got a wonderful addition to our family that nobody deserves something that good.
Well, it was a great movie and lots of great lessons learned. Leanne, rural America wants to know. I mean, just how accurate did Hollywood portray your family in the movie Blind Side?
You know, they did a really good job. They hung around, they shadowed us. John Lee Hancock, who was a writer and director, spent a couple Christmases, a couple Thanksgivings. I mean, they were at the kids' graduations. I mean, this wasn't just them trying to figure it out from reading something or listen, or, you know, talking to people. They actually kind of went behind us, spent time with us, an inordinate amount of time actually. So they really did a good job. Now, they did use some Hollywood licensing, but you know, there was a lot of time. This couldn't be an epic movie. It couldn't be 7 hours. So, you know, John Lee would take a lot of emotion that he saw and he'd put it into one scene so the audience would kind of know what was going on. I always get tickled at the scene where the ladies are eating lunch and they're asking me all these really not so nice questions. And I had friends, and I still, you know, a couple of years removed from the movie, I'll still have people go, that wasn't me in that scene in the movie. You know, it's just so funny. But John Lee knew what he was doing. Michael was never that bad of a football player. But he wanted to show how far Michael came in the short amount of time. So they did take some license, but the overall movie was scarily accurate.
Well, that is pretty darn good. And finally, Sean, your guys' son, Michael Orr, and of course his Raven teammates, just won the Super Bowl in New Orleans. What was his temperament before and, of course, afterwards?
You know, it's interesting. First of all, that's his job, and nobody knows that better than Michael, and he takes it serious. I mean, he doesn't take a month off. He's in the weight room today, I'm sure, working out, not just because it's a workout day. It's because he's trying to get better. So he's incredibly prepared for his job. It's like if you studied for a math test, you can't wait to take it. So that's the way he feels about the game. So it's the opposite. The 8 days before the game, he's nervous. When the game comes, he's not nervous at all. 8 days before the game, we're not nervous at all. And when the actual game comes, you know, she's in the bathroom and I don't see her for about 3 hours. So, you know, he was fine. He was prepared. He couldn't wait. He knew the size of it, but it didn't scare him because he was prepared. I mean, he worked so hard at it. And if anybody deserves what's happened, you know, I can't speak for the other 46, but I can speak for Michael that he deserved this because he's worked real hard for it.
Well, thank you, both of you, for joining us here in Tampa for the 2013 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. One of their messages during one of the general sessions was uniting and speaking with a unified voice, a good lesson for all of us, and especially the U.S. beef cattle industry.
You're not responsible for the weather, just the cattle. And Rangeland works as hard as you do to deliver performance, production, and profitability. Cattle need consistent nutrition. They'll get it year-round with Rangeland products from Land O'Lakes. Deliver what they need free choice in weather-resistant loose minerals and mineral and protein tubs. Get the most out of your forage. See your Land O'Lakes Co-op for products that will stand up to whatever Mother Nature throws at us. Weather's coming in. Rangeland. Consider it done.
New Holland is smart for the way you farm. And New Holland round balers are smart for the way you raise cattle. By focusing on making the densest bale possible, New Holland round balers pack more into each bale, saving you time, fuel, and money. Now that's smart. We can also match your feeding requirements with a variety of bale slicing, cutting, and wrapping options to help maximize your time. Plus, with models designed specifically for silage or specialty crop harvest, New Holland gives you the power to make smart choices to fit your farm or ranch. You work hard to get the most out of every hay season to benefit you and your cattle. From mower conditioners to balers and tractors, New Holland has the right solutions to help you make quality hay and forage for your cattle operation. Visit your New Holland dealer to learn more about the complete lineup of New Holland equipment, in addition to all the benefits available to cattle producers.
Cattlemen from around the country work hard every single day to produce the best beef in the world. And NCBA President-elect Bob McCann is no exception. Let's learn a little bit about him and his family operation in Victoria, Texas.
Well, I'm a fifth-generation rancher that's ranched this property here in Victoria County, Texas. And my great-great-grandfather came down here in the 1850s and established our ranch about 1877 here at this confluence of the Guadalupe and Santone River. And we've been here ever since.
In the pre-dawn hours, Bob saddles up at his family's McFadden Enterprises. It's mainly a cow-calf operation where they raise commercial, purebred Brayford cattle.
They're three-quarter Hereford, 25% Brahman influenced, and we market steers, and also we sell replacement animals, replacement commercial heifers, and Brayford bulls also that we send all around the country.
Growing up in the cattle industry has given Bob a deep respect for the land and its resources. He's won several awards for rangeland management and stewardship.
Well, it's, this resource that we have is just, they're not making any more of it, and it's going to be sustainable for myself and my family and my children for generations to come. We've got to take care of it, and we've got to make sure that it's going to be able to support the economies of scale, the livestock grazing, as well as our wildlife populations, our white-tailed deer and bobwhite quail, that we get a lot of revenue from also. So that's the main thing. I think it's got to maintain a viable sustainability economically as well as environmentally.
Bob's a veteran member of NCBA, and he's a past chairman of the association's policy division. That group is responsible for developing NCBA's positions on issues that are important for cattle producers. It also drives NCBA's work with lawmakers in Washington, D.C. As policy chair, Bob served as a conduit between the association and the state organizations.
If there's a state affiliate that's got a problem, that regional VP is going to try to find out what the issue is. And they bring that up the ladder, and the officers and the staff will try to figure out how to do a better job there. So I think that's probably what we do best in the policy division side.
NCBA, Bob says, provides a wide spectrum of services to producers, including educational outreach, product promotion, and policy work. And those are important tools, he says, for anyone in the beef industry.
We've got a very nutritious, healthy product. There's a lot of people out there that would like the public to think otherwise. So we've got to constantly stay on top of that and make sure that the science is there and that the information is available to the consumers, and let them know what our story is. Let them know about the cattle producers out in the country.
Bob and other ranchers have been dealing with severe drought the past few years, but a big national issue, he says, is the shrinking cattle herd, and he'd like to see those numbers go up.
I think everybody is concerned that if we're not able to accomplish that our product price may get just so high that it's not going to be as desirable on the shelf, if it gets too expensive. Certainly there's a balance to find there, and we've got to make sure that we don't get this herd down to where it's a real problem for the pricing. We're trying to attract different foreign markets. We don't want to have to go to those foreign markets and say our beef is going to be the most expensive beef in the world. Certainly it's the most nutritious, healthiest. They need to pay for it, but if we don't keep a pretty good balance on these populations numbers, it's going to be too expensive and they're going to go somewhere else.
By taking advantage of educational opportunities, Bob says today's cattlemen and women are better informed, and he hopes his son and the new generation of producers will be able to continue the work he's known and loved all his life.
Well, I've kind of grown up on the ranch, and this is really pretty much all I've ever done, and so I enjoy it. I enjoy the whole thing. I enjoy cattle production, and I enjoy riding, and and being able to come out and spend time on the properties and see things grow, and so it's always kind of a pleasure for me, and to be able to have the luxury to be out in the open spaces.
Reporting from McFadden, Texas, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
And joining us here in the studio is NCBA President-elect Bob McCann. Welcome, Bob.
Morning, Kevin.
Now, this past year, you've been first vice president. Tell us about some of the activities you've been involved in over the last year.
Well, we had a number of different task force working groups that were put together by the officers this year, and one being the Demand Resource Working Group, and another one being the Beef Foresight Advisory Group, and they were both task force that were compiled of members of our industry from the gate to the plate, from production all the way to the slaughterhouse, and had some great folks involved there, and they're both different issues, but they're both aligned towards protecting our members' freedom to operate and looking out for the future as far as any vulnerabilities that may come up for our industry.
And you've recently been named President-elect. Specifically, what will your responsibilities include over the next year now?
Well, I think we're going to really concentrate a lot on our state-national partnership and solidifying our state-national partnership. You know, that's key to our membership, and trying to get the word out, better communication amongst the states, as well as with state beef councils.
Very good. And as you think about the key issues that our industry at large will face, and specifically NCBA will face over the next year, what would be the top 3 or 4 or 5 issues that you see us facing?
Well, we've kind of prioritized a couple. Of course, we're going to work on all the policy issues that we have, but some of the top ones, of course, Farm Bill didn't get passed, so we're going to be working hard on that. We kind of have to redo a lot of those objectives that we worked on in 2012. We've also got some issues we know we're going to have with the EPA as far as the Clean Water Act, and making sure that they keep that navigable waters definition within the Clean Water Act, and we're pretty sure they're gunning for us to try to take that out. So that's going to be a top issue. Immigration has come to the forefront recently since the election. That's been something we've been wanting to work on for a long time. We've got a couple of top priorities within that issue. One of them is going to be the pathway to citizenship and kind of how the cattlemen and the farmers and ranchers feel about that. And the other priority there would be to try to allow for the border security to be able to use motorized vehicles in the federal lands, which they haven't been able to use thus far. So
very good. You've got a full plate ahead. Congratulations on your recent appointment to President-elect, and good luck for the year ahead.
Thank you, Kevin.
To join Bob as a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us online at beefusa.org.
Respiratory disease is a significant animal health issue in the beef industry. It costs producers nearly $1 billion in lost profits each year, and it's the most prevalent disease in calves older than 30 days. So why not prevent respiratory disease before it steals from your bottom line? Vista Once protects your calves with the most complete respiratory disease coverage available, and Vision Blackleg vaccines can add 14 pounds per calf at weaning. For further information, contact your local veterinarian or animal health supplier.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right. Whether it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots, when you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real, feeding my family a home-cooked meal. That's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow.
To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Connect today at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. Each year we take time at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show to shine the spotlight on those who have contributed to the success of the beef industry. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has a closer look at the Best of Beef breakfast and one winning restaurant that believes beef is the secret to its success.
Many outstanding members of the beef industry were honored at the Best of Beef breakfast in Tampa. A variety of awards were handed out, including the Retail and Food Service Beef Backer Awards. This year's Food Service Innovator Award was won by Peacock Alley American Grill and Bar in Bismarck, North Dakota.
To be recognized nationally amongst all the restaurants, whether they're franchises, corporates, independents, all lumped together. And who doesn't serve beef? I mean, beef is virtually on every restaurant menu. So when you're up against all these guys, it's very intimidating to begin with, but to be the winner, I mean, I can't even imagine a bigger honor than to be recognized by the cattlemen for this.
Beef is front and center at Peacock Alley. Dale and his wife bought the restaurant 2.5 years ago and decided right away to focus on beef dishes.
We just realized that beef makes the most sense. We can provide the freshest product, we can have it daily, and we have no supply chain issues. We have some of the greatest cattle ranchers in the entire country are right in our backyard. So it just made sense to do that. So we focused very hard our first year of coming up with a beef experience type of menu.
People from around the world visit this independent restaurant, and at Peacock Alley they've witnessed firsthand how cooking beef translates into increased sales.
In the last 2 years, since we changed our menu to a beef-focused menu, last year we finished up 102% in overall sales, and our fourth quarter alone we were up 215% from the previous year. So it's growing at exponential rates. Beef is a savior for companies like us, and when we have a chef and a team like we have that can focus on that beef experience and create that, it's unbelievable, the experience.
Reporting from the Cattle Industry Convention in Tampa, Florida, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Beef Backer Award winners are selected by a special judging committee. The committee takes into account leadership and initiative when it comes to marketing beef, as well as the operator's support of beef checkoff funded projects. For more information, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Consumers crave the unique flavor of beef, and it's important for the beef industry to create new products that meet the changing needs and desires of those consumers. As Brad Buller reports, attendees at this year's Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show got a first-hand look at some of the recent innovations that are fueling beef demand.
The Beef Innovations Group, which is funded by the Beef Checkoff, works to create new products that build beef demand. At the New Product Exchange in Tampa, producers and state beef council leaders had a chance to see some of these innovative products firsthand.
The New Product Exchange is an annual meeting we have with state beef councils to showcase what's new in the world of new products in the beef industry. What the Beef Innovations Group really tries to do is to come up with new products, new uses for products, and really provide new solutions for both retailers and food service operators and consumers especially.
One new product getting a lot of attention was Schmaken. Created by the Schmaltz Company, Schmaken will soon be adding some sizzle to the beef lineup.
Schmaken is beef's answer to bacon. It is a whole muscle product. It's a smoked and cured, sliced and glazed beef strip. It's going to find its way into mainstream because it's lower in salt, it's lower in fat, it's quicker to cook, it's safer because it arrives in a fully cooked, crisp and served state. And then it will be a condiment in burger joints and frankly on tops of steaks all across America.
Schmaken was a hit with those attending the New Product Exchange, and it seems these smoked and cured glazed beef strips are likely to stake out a place on the menu.
We sampled several different versions of schmacon. We had a couple strips and then a schmacon hamburger slider and then an eggs benedict with the schmacon product on it. And I don't know if you can see around the room where it was being served, but everyone seemed to enjoy it really well, and I didn't see much product left on the plate. So I think it turned out pretty good and people enjoyed it.
I think they enjoyed it very much. I think the typical reaction is almost shock. When you first look at the product, if you had regular pork bacon sitting side by side to it, you would say, this one I'm going to choose because it looks leaner, it looks like it's going to have a little more bite to it, and everybody has over and over said, overwhelmingly, they can't wait to see it in the marketplace.
Schmacon is just the latest product to benefit from the efforts of the Beef Innovations Group, which has provided their beef expertise every step of the way.
We've been working with this company, Schmaltz Deli Company, for a while now in terms of research and concept testing and so on to bring this to market. And now the Beef Checkoff is also going to be supporting the initial launch into the market as well. So yeah, the Beef Checkoff is certainly behind this product.
Honestly, if it weren't for the opportunities and the knowledge and expertise that the Checkoff and the group and Innovations has lent to us, we wouldn't be where we are today. It would have been a much slower development process. They were able to point out things to us and bring experts to the table very, very quickly.
From the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Tampa, Florida, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
For more information on the Beef Innovations Group and the projects they're working on, just log on to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's time to gear up for fall with big savings on John Deere hay equipment. Get 0% financing on mower conditioners, balers, and select hay tools. And for a limited time, get up to $3,600 off a new 8 or 9 series round baler. Plus, an extra $750 in-season bonus. So don't wait. Come in today before these Gear Up for Fall savings come to an end.
NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen is your source for industry updates that impact your operation.
The National Cattlemen's Beef Association is continuing its fight against the so-called death tax.
Hear from congressional members on important issues. Learn about the best practices for beef quality assurance and visit operations from around the country. All in 1 hour. NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern on RFD TV.
Ever wonder where the beef checkoff dollar goes and what it buys? The Federation of State Beef Councils is made up of the 45 qualified state beef councils that collect the $1 per head beef checkoff. Each council keeps control of 50 cents and sends 50 cents to the Cattlemen's Beef Board for use in national beef checkoff programs. Many states also choose to send a portion of their share to the Federation to expand national and international efforts. As a division of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, the Federation of State Beef Councils works to support an effective state and national partnership, helping to increase beef demand through research, promotion, and education. Because producers themselves direct these programs, your beef checkoff dollars are in good hands. Learn more about the Federation of State Beef Councils by visiting beefusa.org.
Welcome back. Last year, the USDA dramatically lowered the limits on the number of calories and protein available each day for students in their school meal programs. Well, that didn't go over well with Callahan Grund, a high school student in Sharon Springs, Kansas. He joined his teachers and fellow students to make a music video challenging that rule from the USDA. And that video now has over 1 million hits on YouTube. We had a chance to catch up with Callahan at this year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention.
We made a video called We Are Hungry in our high school two teachers in my school, the English teacher, Mrs. O'Connor, and the publications teacher, Ms. Kirkham, actually came to me to see if I'd be interested in doing this video and participating in it. We made it as a video parody off the song We Are Young by Fun, poking fun at the new school lunch guidelines that went into place early this fall as part of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act that started in 2010, but that reduced the amount of calories for different ages of students and the amount of protein and carbohydrates also. And as an athlete and very active student, to go along with all the cattle and ag industry stuff that I do, I was shocked that we would be only served 2 to 3 ounces of protein a day, which is about 12 ounces of protein a week. And that's just not enough food to get a kid like myself throughout a day, or even the kids that are in poverty that that this is either their hottest meal of the day or the biggest meal of the day. I mean, the kids in the city, even though I come from a very rural area, this could be their only meal of the day, and we were shocked that they weren't getting the nutrition that they needed.
The We Are Hungry video got major media attention from the Today Show, 2020, and many others. The USDA has since taken the limits off the protein and calories available in school meals for students across the country. Callahan wasn't the only young cattleman at this year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention. Many others chose to participate in the variety of youth events. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brad Bulla has the story.
The Cattle Industry Convention has something for everyone, no matter how old or how young you are. Sponsored by Farm Credit, NCBA hosted many youth events at this year's convention, including a quiz bowl, cattle judging competition, and even a speech contest.
This is the first time I've competed in the NCBA speech contest. I spoke about Nebraska's economy and how the beef industry affects Nebraska, and I made the ties between a marathon runner and beef.
Contestants come up with their own topics for the speech, and not only do they have to research facts to support it, they also have to answer on-the-spot questions from a panel of beef industry experts.
This is the first time I've ever been to a speech contest in the NCBA. It's really nerve-wracking the last few minutes. I was wanting to have him be the superhero and his sidekicks be the nutrients like zinc and iron and protein.
This is our 5th year of the speech contest, and you know, we started out very small with just a few contestants because it's a big skill for a very young child to do, and even for a teenager. So we have certainly grown in numbers. We've got about 35 participants this year.
I think it helps you to be comfortable talking in front of people. I think it helps with your knowledge because you have to do your research on things, be it something you already have. You need to research how you can upsell it and maybe you'll find things you didn't even know about it that are on the market.
Mindy Waterman, a sophomore from Colorado State University, participated in the youth marketing contest and says these events will help give the younger generation of beef industry leaders a competitive edge in the market.
The beef industry is very hospitable down home. You like people who can talk to one another, who you can trust, and I think this definitely helps to get people to get their skills up there where they need to be competitive in the market.
Although some of the contests can be tough, all the participants agree that the preparation and the experience is worth it.
It builds up a lot of your life skills and it sets you up for a life of success once you get older and into your career.
The best thing about the speech contest is it's a good way to promote the beef industry.
This is our future. This is a cadre of kids who are going to go out and be our spokespeople. It's going to be important for them to feel comfortable in front of a crowd.
Reporting from Tampa, Florida, I'm Brad Bulla for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Now, it's not too early to start thinking about next year's convention and all the youth events taking place. The 2014 Cattle Industry Convention will be in Nashville, Tennessee, February 4th through the 7th. For more information, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. From Capitol Hill to the far side of cattle country, The National Cattleman provides information NCBA members need. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
Join producers from around the country at the 2014 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee.
It's an event that we will never miss.
I love seeing the enthusiasm. I think it's great.
It's a perfect combination and the perfect time to hold the NCBA convention.
Join your fellow cattlemen for the latest cattle industry news, education, networking, and fun. Plus, at the NCBA Trade Show, get the latest in industry technology for the cattle business.
This trade show is one of the best trade shows that is out there. It's amazing the amount of industry and businesses that come here to be a part in. And there's no other place that, for those of us as beef producers, can go to have this much information in one place.
So follow me to Tennessee for the 2014 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, February 4th through the 7th. Learn more at beefusa.org.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Cattlemen, the Kenneth and Caroline McDonald Ing Foundation is sponsoring their first Cow-Calf Symposium at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, September 12th and 13th. Topics include semi-confinement cow-calf production, new measurements and methods of improving cow efficiency, and other ideas that explore new choices for cowmen with an open mind for the future. Tickets and info 575-743-6331. Come and be a part of it and bring your imagination. We were down at the Smith barn one day, calving first calf heifers. Dale was the boss, and to give you an idea what kind of guy Dale was, Pancho named him El Gallo con Espuelas, which means the rooster with spurs. And he does kind of walk with his chest stuck out and sort of cocky and wears them big old jingling rowels, always wearing a bright scarf. Well, he came a-striding in down there one morning pretty early, just dressed up fit to kill. Brand new shirt and everything. I mean, he was really proud. Well, George had been there all night, and he had a heifer in the squeeze chute trying to pull this calf, and he'd pulled for all he was worth, and he was plumb give out. Well, Dale saw him and said, "What's the matter with you? Can't you pull this calf? Get out of the way and let me do it." Well, George wasn't about to argue. He'd been working on that heifer for a long time anyway. Well, Dale stepped around there behind the heifer, propped his feet up against the bottom of the squeeze chute, grabbed a hold of them two old bee handles and just reared back. Well, that calf was coming straight out, and he had his head just right, and he was a big old calf. And Dale, whenever he gets to doing something, he grits his teeth and smiles just like a jack-o'-lantern and squints his eyes. He had a good grip, and I mean, he was leaned back like a water skier. As the calf started to come, the nice, smooth, round little forehead on the calf pressed up on the heifer's rectum and cleaned it slicker than a whistle. There was a stream about an eighth of an inch wide and 2 inches thick that came arcing out like a rainbow. It just missed the brim of his hat and splattered all over his face, in his mouth, down the front of his shirt, and he couldn't do nothing because he was reared back so far. If he'd let go, he'd have fell flat on his back. So he just hung on till the calf came out and crashed in a soggy pile on top of it. Dale came to life. He was spitting and cussing, and he raised his head just in time, pretty as you please, to see that heifer clean her afterbirth right in his lap. This is Baxter Black from Under There.
I'm an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because NCBA, they look at the facts, they look at the history, and they look what's good for the industry.
It's important to be NCBA members just because of what NCBA does. They keep us informed about a lot of things that are going on.
The reason we're an NCBA member is we think that it's the best voice that the cattle people have. We think without the NCBA, why, we'd be in hot water back in Washington.
I think the staff at NCBA and the way they're structured do a tremendous job of representing me in Washington.
I'm an NCBA member because their policy is based on sound science and common sense. Join me today.
Join me today.
Join NCBA today. Head to beefusa.org or call 866-USA-BEEF.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because NCBA is our voice in Washington.
I'm an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member because I feel it's important that we have an association such as this in Washington, D.C. to support our cattlemen throughout the country.
I am an NCBA member. Join me today.
I'm Kevin Oxter, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome back. Let's have a look at this week's Legacy Photos. To submit your farm or ranch photo, just visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Well, that does it for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.